Welcome to Kingdom Creative. The mission is to help those who have a heart for ministry and business honor God in all they have and all they do. There's a lot of conversation around this topic of following your passion and living out your passion, so much so that as a society, we place it on such a high pedestal. It's almost like if you're not living out your passion, then you're not even living and you have no significance whatsoever. There's such a high value placed on you got to find your passion, you got to follow your passion. And I wanted to speak to that a little bit today because I do believe that passion is important. But I also believe that we have a very flawed understanding of what that passion is, how to discover it, and how it should actually look in the life of someone who is following and honoring God with all they have and all they do. A lot of us look at that word as what gets you excited, what gets you motivated, what gets you happy and fulfills you, and what do you just want to spend all your time doing? Now, I think from a biblical perspective, that's a bad way to look at passion. Because first and foremost, it doesn't revolve around one thing, and that is obedience to God. You know what? Sometimes God, and many times, God is going to tell you to do something that you are not going to feel excited about, that you are not going to feel charged up and ready to go do. And many times that's exactly the assignment that you need to do. So this idea of passion being something that you're supposed to be always excited and energized to do, I think is more of a cultural standpoint than it is a biblical one. So first and foremost, I think it's important to just draw that distinction between what passion actually is. The idea of following your passion or finding your passion, 90% of it is missing the target because 90% of it does not include actually being faithful and listening to what God is saying. So how would God define passion? I think that God has placed messages and assignments and equipped people for certain things and certain assignments in this life to be able to do. And I think that there are indicators in our heart, in our minds, as far as what those things are. I think there are clues to the things that we gravitate towards, to the things that we are excited about, to the things that we are interested about, curious about, all of that kind of stuff. But I do not think that just because you're excited about it means that that's what you should be doing. I cannot stress this enough. There's going to be plenty of things that you're not going to be excited about. But if God is telling you to do them, you still got to do them. Let me read to you a scripture out of Hebrews chapter 10, verse 23. It says this: "Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful." So I think that a better way to understand passion is really the biblical principle of endurance. That listen, there are many things that you can do, but God blesses endurance because that is something that he has set up for the life of those who follow him. That he calls us to a life of endurance. That there are going to be things, there are going to be ups and downs in our lives that are not going to make sense from time to time, but will we endure? See, one of the biggest principles that you can understand about anything is this: anything that draws us to rely on his strength over our strength is always a good indicator that it comes from him. So in our culture, we look at purpose as something that you need to find, you need to discover, and you need to fulfill. That couldn't be further from the truth. The biblical understanding of endurance is I don't have enough, I don't know enough, and I need him for everything. Here's one of the biggest blessings that I think we forget is when we get to our destination or we arrive at a certain point and we know that it was only because of him that got us there. How much more glory and honor does that give to the Lord? How much more does that draw and attract other people to his saving power and to the work that he does in the lives of those who receive him? There's always a bigger mission at play, and that is, who are you drawing and who are you attracting to God? So the next time you feel confused or you feel worried about following and finding your passion, think about it this way. What has God been saying to you? Where has he been directing you? And what do you need to have endurance for?